Off the bat, yes, TRT can make erections worse in some men. And there are a variety of different reasons why this happens. But mainly, you need to understand that if you go on TRT, you are now taking charge of a cascade of sex hormones that your body, under natural conditions, normally manages in tight windows. Look, when you inject TRT or you apply testosterone, like to the scrotum using test cream, your body is no longer in control of your sex hormones. It is simply a vessel for reaction. Listen, your body will do whatever your TRT protocol tells it to do. And if the protocol isn't right for you, erections will get worse. All right, I want to explain why this happens, what to do about it, and hammer home the point that you're now in control of your sex hormones. It's not being managed by those tight windows, all those complex mechanisms within male physiology that manage your sexual function in hormone ratios like DHT and estradiol. Now the control has shifted. You're in control now. So it is up to you to design a perfect protocol. All right, so let's talk about what your body has to regulate naturally. If you're a natty and you do not inject testosterone or apply testosterone, your body has to manage the following things. Number one, the DHT to estrogen ratio. Testosterone, when you make it from your gonads, you convert it to two hormones, DHT or dihydrotestosterone, and then estradiol or estrogen. Your body does not haphazardly situate those hormones, DHT and estrogen, in arbitrary ranges. It puts them in ranges which allow you to have proper erectile function and libido. Your body also has to manage the production, the intratesticular production of neurosteroids, which signal to the brain to both have libido and to execute the neurological mechanisms behind the beginning cascades of an erection. So that said, you move to TRT, where you start injecting testosterone cypionate, injecting testosterone enanthate, or applying testosterone cream to the scrotum. Then your body, which previously knew how to manage the amount of testosterone that you were making, has an entirely new hormone milieu to deal with. So it freaks out. And that is the basis of the problem on why men lose erections on TRT. To have proper erections, let's talk about that, whether you're on TRT or off TRT. These are the conditions that need to be met. Number one, you need to have high dihydrotestosterone signaling, specifically at the male penis. Testosterone converts to DHT locally at the penile level and then binds to androgen receptors that sit within the structure of the male organ. Those androgen receptors govern and mediate blood flow to the penis, specifically through the endothelium, through the optimization of smooth muscle cells, and through the increases in function of nitric oxide synthase and the conversion of arginine into nitric oxide. The literature supports this, and I've made this point many times, but dihydrotestosterone is the erectile function androgen. It's not testosterone. Testosterone is primarily for anabolism. It may improve nitric oxide function to some degree, but largely DHT is what drives erections in males, whether you're on TRT or you're not on TRT. The second part of having erections, whether TRT or not on TRT, is estrogen cannot dominate your hormone profile. If estrogen dominates your hormone profile, you really can't get DHT's compounding effect at androgen receptors in the penis to facilitate erections. You have an imbalance. The estrogen is effectively blocking DHT's capacity to give you proper erections. Again, you're now having to intelligently put together a protocol that manages your sex hormone milieu, whereas previously your body had to manage that on its own. And it knew what to do based on the amount of testosterone your gonads were producing. This, TRT, is an entirely different thing. So you can't just end up with a bad protocol forcing estrogen to be out of balance with DHT. That's going to cause erectile dysfunction when starting TRT or when you're on TRT. The last and final step of proper sexual function on TRT is functional testicles. There is a small percentage of men that can get away with not taking HCG or not taking enclomiphene, but those are far and few between, and I never see them in coaching. I only hear about them out there in the wild. If the protocol you end up on TRT is designed to give you overages in any hormone or ends you up in a place with the wrong balance of DHT to estrogen, you will end up with an imbalance in the sex hormone milieu and you will have erectile dysfunction on TRT. And over the years doing coaching with men on TRT, specifically to fix sexual dysfunction, these are the 4 problems I've isolated that cause new men on TRT to have erectile dysfunction, men that have been on TRT for a long time to have erectile dysfunction, and generally guys injecting or using androgens to have erection problems. All right, number one, it's HCG. HCG. Again, you have to be pristinely careful with how now you manage your sex hormone milieu. You're the one injecting, you're the one applying. It's now up to you, not up to your body anymore. So, I mean, one of the biggest mistakes with HCG is simply too much HCG. Yeah, some clinics will have you injecting 500 IU every other day, 500 IU every third day, or 500 IU twice a week. And what that does is cause an excess in estrogen for 2 days, 3 days, depending on that frequency, which imbalances your DHT or dihydrotestosterone to estrogen ratio. Now, the studies say one thing, but my experience in coaching tells me the clear picture about how much HCG we need. And the minimum effective dose of HCG is 100 IU a day. That's a total of 700 IU a week. So if you're injecting 500 IU 3 times a week, you're already at 1,500 IU. That's far over where most men need to be in terms of the quantity of HCG per week. If you inject 100 IU a day, you're at 700 a week. Okay? Most men don't need any more than that, especially if you're trying to push higher testosterone levels. Then you're just going to create this imbalance in excess estrogen, and DHT might still be fine, but again, estrogen is going to kind of crowd that out and you'll have erectile dysfunction. So with esters like testosterone-Cypionate, HCG in high doses is usually not your friend. And some of the suggestions coming from the clinic have you starting too high on HCG, and that causes erectile dysfunction. Just as an aside, if you're on a DHT heavy testosterone protocol like transcrotal cream, which because of the high density of 5-alpha reductase enzymes, the enzymes that convert your testosterone into DHT in the testicles, when you apply that cream to the testicles, you're getting way more DHT. So in those cases, you've got a DHT-centric protocol. Those are the only cases in which I have seen men can tolerate more HCG. Right? Because at baseline, they already have less estrogen because more is converting into DHT because they're applying it to their testicles. So in these cases, I've seen guys be able to run 200, 300 IU a day of HCG, but on 150 milligrams of testosterone-Cypionate, where it's not really a DHT-centric or DHT-heavy protocol, can't be pushing high levels of HCG that causes erectile dysfunction in most men. Look, by the way, all I do in coaching is fix sexual dysfunction on TRT. Guys come on board with me and have erectile issues, libido issues, climax, and sensation problems. And through a tailored process, we resolve the sexual dysfunction. I've been coaching guys on TRT for 7 years. I care about results. I am one of the world's foremost specialists in this, and you can hire me to fix erectile dysfunction, libido problems, sensation problems, and climax issues, general sexual dysfunction on TRT in under a minute at livecortex.com. We've got many different packages. The 3 and 6 month right now are 30% off. If you've got ED on TRT, book me. Let's get it figured out. All right, the second reason that guys have erectile dysfunction on TRT is, and this is going to sound crazy, the protocol is too testosterone-centric and not enough DHT-centric. Okay, some esters, particularly like the most commonly prescribed testosterone treatment, which is testosterone-Cypionate or testosterone enanthate, they give you high systemic testosterone, so they load you with testosterone. You're definitely getting enough testosterone. I mean, most people on Cypionate just go supraphysiologic. They have an excess in testosterone. And even though testosterone converts to DHT, testosterone also converts to estradiol. So if you have an ester, call it testosterone-Cypionate, that primarily gives you high systemic testosterone, you're also going to get high systemic aromatization into estradiol or estrogen. And what those esters typically do, cypionate and enanthate, is they convert to DHT, but it's a moderate conversion. So what do you have here? Again, it's an imbalanced hormone milieu. You've got high systemic T, high conversion to estrogen, and moderate conversion to DHT. Remember, DHT is what drives the erectile capacity of every man, specifically DHT at the tissue level, optimizing the endothelium, the blood flow, the smooth muscles, the nitric oxide. If your ratios are skewed with super high systemic T and pretty high aromatization or estradiol and moderate levels of DHT, you're going to have erectile dysfunction. That's just how it works. Solutions for that in these cases are to either add something like Proviron. Proviron will balance out the ratio, right? It acts as DHT. It's a methylated form of DHT in an oral tablet that agonizes the androgen receptors, a very similar effect duration window. So the amount of time that Testosterone or Proviron is binding to the androgen receptors, it's similar to DHT, and provokes a gene expression DHT-like response at the penile tissue. So you've got the optimization of the endothelium, the nitric oxide, and the smooth muscle function. This is why men will not be dialed in on testosterone. They'll have erectile dysfunction. And then they just take 25 milligrams of Proviron a day and it fixes the erectile dysfunction. Well, now you've taken yourself from high systemic T, high systemic aromatization, moderate DHT, to high systemic T, high systemic aromatization, but also now high systemic DHT and high penile DHT, tissue level DHT. Now, for some people, that's going to work fine, but it also leads into the third reason why men lose erections on TRT, which is, say the protocol is DHT-centric. Say you have enough. You're taking Testosterone, or you have got, like from Sourceless, some 20% DHT oil, and you're applying that to the scrotum every day. So you figured out the DHT, you've got enough of that for erection quality, but you're somewhat estrogen dominant. Again, if you design your protocol the wrong way, you can still have high DHT. But if estrogen is above a certain milieu, a milieu your previously natty body does not know how to work with, this overload of estrogen despite your high DHT, that's an imbalance, and you're going to have erectile dysfunction. Now, with really high DHT, the ratios do scale a little bit, so you can tolerate a little bit more estrogen in your system if you've got high DHT or high enough DHT, but you've got to be pushing the levels of DHT, which are going to cause hair loss, acne, and otherwise side effects, usually. And it's not stable. You know, you have erections one day, not erections the next day. It's not a stable way to do it. The best way to do it is to get estrogen in a sex-friendly zone where it's not inhibiting erectile quality while you still have pretty high DHT. If your blood is telling you that now you have 55 picograms per milliliter of estradiol, and you're only sitting at 60 nanograms per deciliter of DHT, well, if you think about that ratio, it's almost like even. Presumably, based on what I've seen in coaching, you would need, in order to make that 55 estradiol work, you'd need like 150 or so nanograms per deciliter of DHT, just much higher DHT. Again, enough DHT to cause hair loss and acne and other problems. So it's usually not worth it. The best way to fix that is to get the estrogen down further while you still have high DHT. Then the ratio makes sense without side effects. Again, one of the best ways to have a proper ratio, because again, your body's not controlling the hormone milieu anymore. All it's doing is reacting to what you're doing to it, right? Your body is going to situate itself in terms of erections exactly in proportion and response to your TRT protocol. It's just going to do what your TRT protocol is telling it to do. So, I mean, that's why I harp on using testosterone cream so much, because testosterone cream creates a different balance. Testosterone cream makes it so that you are high systemic DHT. I mean, the DHT dominance is very, very strong with scrotal cream. Again, you've got 5-alpha reductase enzymes in the scrotal skin, which, by the way, is the most permeable site on the male body for testosterone. So you make more DHT, and thus, because testosterone can only convert to two things, DHT and estrogen. If you're making lots of DHT, you're going to make less estrogen. So then, with cream, you have the right ratios. Now your body understands what to do with this. It's used to it. It knows kind of lower end estradiol, 20 to 35 picograms per milliliter, sufficient DHT, I can now have erections. Because this is what I've previously used to make erections work. I only know how to make erections work with DHT, androgen receptor binding from DHT at the penis, locally optimizing nitric oxide, the endothelium, and the smooth muscle cell function with a managed estrogen milieu. If you get out of those ranges, specifically in estrogen being too high, your body does not know how to produce the response of erections that way. Do you understand? I'm trying to put it to you guys in a different way in this video. All right, so you've got to be DHT-centric with enough estrogen. Estrogen drives male libido when it's in its zone, below which your libido will suffer, and above which libido and erections are going to suffer. Estrogen's got to be in a tight ranging, and think about your body as a natty. It controls these hormone milieus in very tight windows. And now that you're using testosterone or TRT, you have to situate your protocol to control it. You've got the right protocol, well, then your body will know what to do regarding erections. The last reason why erections get worse when being on TRT is your protocol is situated to work at the wrong times. An example would be you have nocturnal erections, but during the day, you can't get erections for penetrative sex. You have morning wood, but you go to have sex 8 hours later with your girlfriend or wife and it doesn't work. Right. That is because the protocol is working at wrong times. You are in the sufficient DHT estrogen balance between 1 a.m. and 9 a.m. But then from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. or to 12 midnight, you're not in the balance. And that's probably because you injected that day, or you applied that day, or you injected some HCG that day. You took the DHT estrogen balance out of whack, and now you're not DHT dominant anymore, right? The penile vasculature cannot function while it's not DHT dominant with estrogen in a controlled range. I think people think that hormone milieus can't shift that rapidly, but they absolutely can. You guys know, I mean, people that are watching this, if you had nocturnal erections but not good erections for sex, you have that problem. And that's one of the main reasons erections fail on TRT. It just means you've got to resituate your protocol. You've got to have DHT, the dominant sex hormone, for the duration of your time. It may even be better to have a little bit of a wacky ratio overnight. Say you don't get nocturnals every night, but you are functional during the day. Usually lowering the dose a little bit fixes that problem, because nocturnal erections at night and no erections during the day tell us that at nighttime the estrogen is not dominating the DHT. You have enough DHT, but in the daytime the estrogen is either overpowering the DHT or somehow you don't have enough DHT. Usually it's the former. So you lower your dose a little bit, then you stay right in those windows. In the end, the major point that you need to take away from this video, which comes from 7 years of coaching from a 1,000-foot view. I mean, I am boots on the ground with men looking at this from the scientific literature's perspective, with a greater understanding of how hormone milieus work and how the body adjusts or responds to them. You are now using exogenous testosterone. Okay, so your body is not in control anymore. You are. So you've got to perfect a protocol engineered to, because your body will just respond to your TRT protocol. You've got to engineer a protocol that your body responds appropriately to, that when it has that hormone milieu, it then can go, oh, I can make erections and I can make libido. All right, look, all we do at Cortex Labs is make killer products that enhance sexual function for men on TRT, fixing erections, fixing libido, fixing sensation, fixing climax. The most popular and most recently launched product that we have, that I wrote, is Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT. This is the Sexual Function Playbook. Everything I've learned as 7 years as a TRT coach, fixing sexual function for men on TRT, is in this downloadable playbook. Whether it's dialing in on cypionate, enanthate, test prop, testosterone cream, or using exogenous DHT on top of a TRT protocol to fix erections and dial in, it is all in this playbook. It's effectively the rulebook for TRT. If you want to have stellar sexual function on TRT, get the Sexual Function Playbook. It is 20% off right now. I'll give you guys a discount on it. You can get it down in the description, download it instantly, and it's yours. Listen, if you need coaching on sexual function resolution, sexual dysfunction, erection issues, libido issues on TRT, this is all I do. I mean, 99% of my inquiries are guys that are having sexual dysfunction on TRT. We'll do the fact finding. I will situate protocols for you that work. Through a feedback and adjustment process, we'll land you on the golden protocol with the golden ranges that just works well for your body. Again, we want to tell your body, have erections, have libido, have sensation, have youthful sexual function. That is what I work to dial in coaching, and you can hire me in under a minute at livecortex.com. We're on the fact-finding call as soon as that day or the next day, and then we hit the ground running. Right now, 3 and 6 month TRT coaching for sexual function is 30% off. The code is on the screen. The discount is also down in the description of this video, and you can go book me right now at livecortex.com. We talked a little bit about testosterone cream. I wrote an instructional video course on how to dial in specifically erections and libido using cream. Again, you've got to program your body to allow you to have erections. The entire strategy to do that is in Mastering Testosterone Cream for Libido and Erections. It's a video course. You can download it instantly right now at livecortex.com or down in the description, and it's 20% off as well. Listen, if you need to go at this stuff alone, sometimes you might need to source some stuff that you wouldn't otherwise be able to procure. DHT itself, test prop, primo, anything you can think of. Just get source list. Pretty much self-explanatory. 20% off livecortex.com. Look, if you liked anything that we said in this video, and if you think it's going to help you, please like the video. It makes a huge difference to the algorithm, and those are the kind of signals we need to send YouTube to get our content out to more people. Otherwise, sub to the channel. If you're watching this video and you liked anything we had to say and you want to see more, I'd love to have you on board. We are a rapidly growing TRT channel, and I'd love to have one more of you. You, brother. I'd love to have you on board. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you boys in the next one.